unanimously find the defendant guilty of murder.
Guilty of murder, as you just heard. Right now, a jury deciding how much time a former police officer will spend behind bars as a result. We have team coverage as we join you at 5 o'clock of Roy Oliver's trial.
Robbie Owens is in Dallas where the sentencing phase is underway. But we begin with Steve Pickett, who has been in court from day one and was there when that verdict came down. Steve?
The first words you heard after that initial verdict read was, "Thank you, Jesus," from family members of this 15-year-old child who was shot back in 2017, shot and killed by that former Balk Springs police officer. This jury today with this verdict was simply saying in this judgment that the action of this officer was a crime.
We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant guilty of murder as charged in the indictment.
After close to 13 hours of deliberations, Roy Oliver didn't budge when Judge Brandon Birmingham read the first of 3 verdicts: guilty of murder, guilty of the illegal and intentional killing of Jordan Edwards. Jurors would find Oliver not guilty on 2 aggravated assault charges. The teenager's family in tears after hearing the guilty verdict, and Jordan's father highly emotional.
I believe he would have been a star.
And we're just happy here in Dallas, Texas, that Roy Oliver is going to have to do his time for taking Jordan's life. What he did on that night should have never happened. And we're just happy that we've gotten justice today.
In April of 2017, Oliver and another officer heard gunshots outside a teen party. The first Balk Springs officer wanted to stop a car with Jordan and his brothers inside. Oliver fired 5 shots, saying that car was about to hit the other officer. Prosecutors called Oliver's decision to use deadly force murder, and advocates to convict Oliver of that charge reacting today to the verdict.
Seeing it play out the way that it did shows the importance of these officer-involved shootings going to trial and having a day in court.
For the past year or so, there were demonstrations and protests surrounding this incident as a reflection, again, of police using excessive force, particularly white officers and black individuals who were shot by those particular officers. In this case, this family has simply said they wanted justice for their child. The part of that justice comes with a sentencing. That process still going forward. Our Robbie Owens covering that part of this trial as it continues. Robbie?
All right, Steve. Roy Oliver, the one-time soldier, a former public servant, is now a convicted killer. And the same jury that found him guilty of murder now determining how long he should spend in prison. And as they begin that process, prosecutors want that jury to have a real sense of who Jordan Edwards was, the young man whose life was taken while, ironically, he and his brothers were trying to drive away from trouble at a house party last year. Jordan's former teachers from Mesquite High School told jurors about a young man repeatedly described as a leader, one who was always smiling and, quote, radiated joy. Several wiped away tears as they talked about the profound effect his death has had on the school community.
We have a tribute for him in his old locker. Nobody has moved into there. It is left the same way it was from the last time he was in there, with the small exception of all of the notes and letters and poems and pictures and excuse me, and the things that people wanted to leave for him.
As you can see, still a very, very difficult thing to talk about for those teachers. That coach went on to tell jurors that Jordan was held in such a high esteem on that football team that his number 11, is something now that is reserved for only those who earn the right to wear his number. Again, sentencing phase continues here. Jordan's now convicted killer, Roy Oliver, facing anywhere from 5 years to a life prison sentence. Live at the Crowley Courthouse in Dallas, Robbie Owens, CBS 11 News.
Robbie, thank you. And we will continue to follow the developments coming out of the Roy Oliver murder trial. Updates will be shared on air and online.